Hello everyone, it's Tuesday, which means it's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And I am super excited to share with you today these 3 projects that feature the Honeybee Bundle by Stampin' Up! Now, the Honeybee Bundle has been insanely popular, and it was actually on back order and then not orderable for a big chunk of the life of the spring, January to June catalog. However, it is back in stock and it is available for order. However, the bad news is that this is going away at the end of the life of this catalog. So this catalog expires on June 2nd. Now, the tricky part is that right now, while all of these products that are retiring are available only while supplies last. So if you have not yet got your hands on this bundle, you want to order this sooner than later, okay? And I'm going to show you why, because it really is super cute. So you'll find it on page 30 of the January to June mini. I'm going to bring in the stamp set and dies. So we have this cute honeybee stamp set. Again, great stamp set because it includes images and sentiments. Love it when you get both in one set. And then we also have, excuse me, something caught in my throat. We also have the dies. So we have some dies that cut out stamped images, and then we have some that are just cutting shapes. And we're going to use both of these today. So this bundle is actually pretty economically priced. I think it's $55 here in Canada, which is a pretty good price for a bundle. Now, just while people are getting logged in, I am going to pull up this video on my Facebook, or on my iPad rather, so that I can see who's watching. It's much easier for me to see comments when I'm on the iPad. There we go. All right, so who's here? We've got Deb from Calgary and Gail. Hi, Sandy. How are things down there? I hope you guys are keeping safe and well. So I am super excited to show you this fun fold. So I discovered this a while back. There's a demonstrator in the UK who came up with this design, and it's called a tricorn. Now she gave it the name mainly because when you turn it this way, it actually looks like a tricorn hat. Okay, so you can actually use this fun fold vertically or horizontally. Now for this particular one, I have done it horizontally. I'm going to show you how to do this. It is way easier than it looks. When I first saw this, I was like, oh, forget it. Way too complicated. I don't want to do that much work, but it's actually quite simple. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. We're going to make this one and then these two, but we're going to start with the fun fold. So I'm going to get the others out of the way. So this one stands up like this, but it also folds flat to mail. Okay. The other cool part is that there is lots of room on the back to write your message. Okay. And it actually stands up quite nicely on a desk or on a mantle. I was thinking, wouldn't this be a great thing to send to a healthcare worker right now who maybe needs a little pick-me-up? This could be sitting on their desk or at their workstation, and just remind them that we're thinking about them and we appreciate them. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. My team and I are working on making a whole lot of cards right now for our local hospital, and this one's going to go out to somebody special there. All right, so to start, we're going to create our card base. I've done some of the cutting and scoring already, just in the interest of time. So you're going to start with a piece. It's just a teeny bit smaller than a half sheet of cardstock. So this is 5.5. Okay, it's standard 5.5 by 8. So normally this would be 8.5, right? So I've already cut off 1/2 inch. So 5.5 by 8. Hi, Debbie. How are you? We are warmer. It's a beautiful day here. It started out dreary and then warmed up quite nicely. Thank you. All right, so as I said, 5.5 by 8. Then I have scored vertically every 2 inches. So I've scored it 2, 4, and 6 inches. So now I have these little 2-inch panels here. Okay. Then what I did, and I've already done one side, but I'm going to do the other one so you can see, along the 2 outside score lines. So this one and this one. I'm not going to do anything here, but on this one and this one, I am going to measure in from the edge 1 3/4 inches. Okay, so I'm putting my ruler right at the edge, and I'm going to just put a little pencil tick at 1 3/4. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this end, 1 3/4, and put a little tick. Okay, can you see those little dots there? Okay, so now we're going to do some scoring. And I'm using my old trimmer because I loaned my new one to a friend who was doing some scrapbooking and didn't have a trimmer. So you'll have to bear with me. This is my old Stampin' trimmer. So what I'm going to do now is I want to score from that little tick mark out to the neighboring vertical score line. So I'm going to score from here out to there and from here out to the corner. So to do that, I actually use my trimmer, but I'm not going to use my scoring blade. What I'm going to do is center that little tick mark in my cutting track, and then I'm going to line up the point that I want to score to on the cutting track as well. And then I just take my bone folder and I do that. Okay, and that's a really easy way to get a nice precise score. Okay, so then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. It's a little bit easier on this one because you've got the corner to line up in the cutting track. And then same thing here. Okay, so now I have my diagonal score lines. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So we're going to line up our little tick and our vertical score line, and then one more this way. And the trick with this is you just want to take your time to line those up because you want those score lines to be as precise as possible. Okay, so now I've got V and a V and another and an M. It's kind of like a giant W and a giant M across. Okay, hi Deneen, how are you doing? Okay, so now we're going to do some folding. So the first thing I'm going to do is fold I'm going to fold the center fold. So I'm going to just fold this shut like it's a regular card. So I'm folding along that center score line. It's scored at 4 inches. And every fold you make, you want to burnish really well with your bone folder. Okay, so I've got that fold done. Then I'm going to fold along this 2-inch score line back this way. Okay, and again, you want to make sure that things are nice and precise. Okay, then I'm going to flip it over, and again, I'm going to fold back this way. Okay, so now it's almost like a fan fold. I have a little M. All right. Okay. It totally would. I will show you some, Sarah, in a minute, some other samples that I did using this when I first learned this fold, okay? All right, so now I'm going to open that back up, and then these diagonal score lines, I just want to take and kind of pinch them a little bit and get them to where I can fold it inwards. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on this end. So I'm pushing this fold in, and I'm just going to pinch along those diagonal scores until the cardstock bends, and I get a nice clean fold. Then I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm going to burnish that really well. Okay, same thing on this end. I'm going to pinch my little diagonal folds. Okay, and then this one too. Just kind of pinching it in. You just want to take your time to get it to fold right along your score lines there. There we go. Okay, and again, I'm just going to turn that over and burnish that really well. Hi Peggy, I will send you a message as soon as I am done. I'd be happy to help you with an order. Okay, so now we have a little puppet. We can make little, you can make really cute little hand puppets with this guy. Okay, it kind of reminds me of, you know those cootie catchers that we used to make when we were kids? That's what it reminds me of. Okay, so now you can see the way our card is going to come together. So what we're going to do in a minute, we're not going to do it yet, we're going to glue this shut, and that's going to form our card base. Okay, but before we do that, we're going to add some DSP to the front. So I've already cut one into a trapezoid, and it's going to fit on these outside panels. I'm going to show you how I did that. The DSP that I'm using is from the Best Dressed, I think it's called. It's the one with the purse and the fun perfume and lipstick and whatnot. But I wanted something Daffodil Delight, and this is a great one. So I've already done this one. I'm going to show you how to cut your trapezoid. So this is a strip of cardstock. It is 5 1/4 by 1 7/8. Okay, so 5 1/4 this way by 1 7/8. And then what I did is I measured again in from the end 1 5/8 inches. So you remember when we were measuring here, it was 1 3/4. So this time I'm going to do 1/8 of an inch less. So it's going to be 1 5/8. So I've already marked that with my pencil. Okay, 1 5/8 on each end. Then I'm actually going to bring in my mini trimmer for this because I find it's a little bit easier to cut, but you can totally do this on a trimmer as well. So remember how we were lining up our little, let me show you, lining up our little tick and with the corner, and we were scoring? Well, this time we're going to cut. So I'm going to line my little tick up with the edge of my trimmer, or my paper cutter here, and my corner, and I'm just going to chop it. Okay, and then same thing here. So I'm going to start at my little tick and go out to the corner. Okay, and there's my trapezoid. Super easy. Hi, Debbie. How are you? All right, so now we're ready to glue these on. So I'm going to glue one onto each of the outside panels here. You're going to see exactly where they go. It's pretty easy. There's only really one spot where they fit. So I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue here just because it's easier to get it into place and get it centered. So I'm going to glue this onto this panel. And you're going to have about a 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. Okay, and I'm just going to burnish that a little bit so that it's good and stuck. Okay, and then same thing with this guy. A little bit of glue. You know what the best thing about doing videos at 5 o'clock on Tuesdays while my husband is off work is that he's making dinner right now. He's barbecuing burgers. I am so happy about that. I told him that I was going to be busy and I couldn't make supper. He's like, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Perfect. All right, so now that we've got our DSP on, we are going to go ahead and glue the mouth shut. Glue the mouth on the puppet shut. Okay, so I'm going to put some liquid glue in here. You could use tear and tape or any kind of strong adhesive. I find the Tombow is actually plenty strong for this. You do want to get right close to the folds, but not too close because you don't want it to ooze. And then I'm going to actually fold this right shut. Okay, and I really want to burnish this well. And just give it a second to set up so that really adheres. Okay, and then when I open this back out, there is my card. Okay, that's my foundation. You see that? Hi, Krista. How are you doing? Isn't it beautiful out? So nice out today. All right, so I'm going to set this aside now, and we are going to do some stamping and assembly. So let's get out all our little bits. I've done some things ahead of time because there was some die cutting involved. So this little piece here is die cut using the Stitched Shapes framelits, or not framelits anymore, dies. And it is the largest circle. It's cut from Whisper White cardstock. Okay, and then I have this fun sort of arched sentiment. It is actually designed to fit over top of the beehive like that. Now it's not perfectly round, okay, it's more oval shaped, so it's not going to fit perfectly in the circle. So what I like to do is actually kind of put my beehive down so I get an idea of where I want to stamp. I'm going to ink up my stamp with some basic gray ink and then stamp right over my beehive like that. Okay, all right, so now we're going to go ahead and glue our circle onto a Coastal Cabana circle. This is cut with the layering circle dies, all right, and it is the largest scallop circle. Okay. Oh, cleaning your laundry room. Well, that'll feel good. Cleaning and reorganizing always makes me happy. I actually started doing some of that in my studio today and then realized that I had too many other things I needed to do and I need to stop and focus. I'm finding I'm very distractible these days. So we're going to go ahead and glue our white circle onto our scalloped one, okay? And then we're going to add our beehive. We're going to pop it up with a couple of dimensionals. So I'll just throw a couple of these guys on here, like that. And get rid of these. Okay, and you just want to make sure when you put this on that your words are straight. Okay, and then I have one of these little honeycombs. Now this is cut using the detailed bee die, so it's this die right here, okay? And I cut it from champagne foil champagne foil sheets. I call it cardstock because it's kind of that weight, but they're technically just foil sheets. So what I'm going to do now is actually cut this in half because I want it to extend on both sides. Now you could totally cut two of these, but why? You can just cut it in half like that, right? So we're going to add a little bit of tape sort of down here and up here. And then we're just going to glue our little honeycombs to the back like that. Okay. And then this is ready to glue onto our card base. So you're going to find when you construct your card base, it wants to fold this way. Okay, that's just kind of the way it is. So you need something. Now, you could make it so that it doesn't want to fold this way. You could burnish it enough so that it wants to sit flat. But what I find is if I put something on against this front panel here, then it sits up nice and straight. Okay, so I'm going to add some tape to the back of this guy. Make sure I'm putting it in the right spot. We'll go here. Whoops. Okay. And then we're going to glue this right on. And again, it's sometimes easier to do this when it's lying flat because then you can get it centered. So I'm squishing it flat. This is the way you would squish it to put into the envelope. And then we're just going to stick that down. Okay. And then again, you just kind of perk it back up and there we go. Okay. All right, now let's take and do a little bit of coloring. So I have stamped the small bee and the 2 flowers from the honeybee stamp set, and I've die cut them. They're stamped in basic gray, and I die cut them using the dies. And I'm going to color my little honeybee using some dark Daffodil Delight. So this is like the quickest coloring ever. It's literally drawing 3 lines. That's it. And then for my flowers, I'm using, what am I using? Light Bermuda Bay, which is very close to Coastal Cabana. So I'm just going to color the flowers real quick with that. And again, basic gray is one of those classic ink colors that you can use with your Stampin' Blends. It doesn't bleed, which is nice to have that option rather than always stark black. So, whoopsie, kind of went out of the line there. Oh well, you guys will forgive me, right? Coloring on camera and rushing is never a good thing. There we go. All right, so now we are going to just tuck our little flowers in. I'm going to add a glue dot to the bloom here. And I'm just going to tuck the end of the flower in underneath my circle and just tack that in place like that. Okay. And yes, basic gray is one of my favorites actually to use with the Stampin' Blends because it's a little bit softer, right? Sometimes we want something a little bit softer. And then we're going to do the same thing with this flower on this side and stick it down. Okay, so now I have my little flowers peeking out there. And then we're going to add our little honeybee. We're going to just throw a dimensional on the back of him. And he's going to go just kind of on our hive here. He's just sitting on his hive like that. Okay. And then our last little touch is a bow. So time for a bow tying lesson. So this is the 1/4 inch Daffodil Delight Ruched ribbon. Okay. It's awesome ribbon. I love working with it. It's very soft and very easy to tie bows with. So to tie your bow, you're going to pinch your ribbon between your thumb and your index finger, keeping it flat, not allowing it to twist. I'm going to take my left loop, cross it over the right, and bring it around and through and pull. Okay, and then it's just a matter of adjusting the loops and pulling your knot tight. Okay, super easy bow with ribbon that makes it even easier. All right, so we're going to just trim the tails on our bow. We'll get that out of the way. And then we'll grab a glue dot, press the knot into there, and I'm just going to put my bow right where my flowers meet there, underneath my beehive. Okay, and that is that. So simple. Now we need to add just a little touch of wink. This is for Debbie, because I don't want her to think I'm sick. Oh, hang on. Let's make sure we got something. There we go. We weren't quite flowing there. Now you do need to be careful with your wink and the basic gray, because it will smudge with the Wink of Stella. Okay, so I add just a touch to the wings of my honeybee. And that is that. So easy. It is easy to make a bow, Debbie. It really is. Now I'll just show you. I'm on the back of my sample. All I did is I cut 2 more strips. So just like I did for the front with the DSP, I cut 2 more strips of Whisper White, cut them exactly the same size using the same method, and then I added them to the back so that I have a spot to write a message. Okay? But isn't that a fun fold? I love it. And again, it folds flat for mailing. I'll just show you a vertical one that I did. This is one that I did during celebration using the Flowering Foils DSP. So it stands up like this. It's kind of hard to see, but it stands up vertically like that. So if that's your table, that's the way it would stand. Okay. And it's just really, really cute. I love this fold. So fun. So give it a try. It is way easier, as I showed you, than it looks. When I first saw it, I was like, no, not doing that. Too hard. Okay, we're going to get some things out of the way here. And yeah, we're good. Okay, moving on. We are going to make this cutie. Okay, I'm having lots of fun using this DSP. It is, what is it called? Is it called Best Dressed? Yes, it is. It's called Best Dressed. And it's got, I'm like the perfume and the shoes and the purses, that doesn't really appeal to me. I'm not really a girly girl that way, but I love the florals in this. Absolutely love them. Oh, go for it. Try it. Deb, try it. And try it, Sarah. It is really, really easy. Really easy. I will put all the dimensions and score lines and everything up on in the description after this. Okay. All right. So we're going to do this cutie. And this one, believe it or not, I've already done all the stamping, so this is going to go really quick. I knew that fun fold would take a little bit longer, so I wanted to keep the other ones really simple. So that's what I did. All right, we're going to set this aside. So here I have a piece of that beautiful Best Dressed DSP. See, it's just got polka dots on the back of this one. So what I did for this is actually a tip. I took my 6x6 sheet. Okay, and I cut it to 6 by 5 1/4 to cut my panel, and then I had, when I cut that 4-inch, and then I cut a 4-inch piece off, and I had this strip, right? So that gives me, the only waste that I had from the 6x6 sheet was this little bit and a 3/4 inch strip here, which I actually end up using on the inside of my card. So that's one way to use 6x6 DSP and not waste anything. Okay, you're only wasting one little panel, and I actually didn't waste it because that's where I cut my little flowers from. Okay, all right, so that's my DSP panel. I'm going to turn it this way because to me that's the way it looks like it goes. And then we're going to use the back side, so same pattern but back side. This is 2 inches wide by 4, and we're going to go ahead and glue that down about 3/4 of an inch over from the right edge. So we'll just grab a little fast fuse. Oh, fast fuse is not playing nice today. I cannot wait for the new adhesive. We are getting new adhesive, I think I mentioned this last week, in the next annual catalog, and it looks fabulous. I cannot wait, cannot wait, cannot wait. Okay, now before we glue this onto our card base, we need to add some ribbon. So this is that same Daffodil Delight ruched ribbon that I used on the last card. So I'm just going to add a glue dot, and I'm going to put this on about, I don't know, 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 over from the left edge of my green strip. Okay, so it's going to go on right about there. Okay, just like that. And then we are going to glue this onto our card base. Our card base is Blackberry Bliss, which is one of my favorite colors. It's so rich and saturated, absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I would agree, Debbie. This DSP, I'm really just kind of digging into it, wouldn't you know it, 2 months before the end of the catalog. But I absolutely love the florals and the colors and patterns, and it's just gorgeous. Okay, so my card base is 5.5 by 8.5. It's scored in the middle at 4 1/4. We're going to fold in half along our score line. And we're going to glue that on center just like that. Okay, so we'll see if Fast Fuse decides to play nice. I have to go slow. I get carried away, and that's when Fast Fuse acts up. It doesn't like rushing. It likes slow and easy. All right, so we're going to pop this on just like that. Okay. And then I actually didn't stamp this beehive. I just cut it out of some DSP. So this is probably one of the patterns that you really like, right, Debbie? So on the back side, this is the same DSP that I used on the last card. The stripes are actually diagonal on the DSP. So I just turned my die and cut it so that I got horizontal lines, and it looks like a little beehive. Isn't that cute? Now, before I put this on, we're going to add another honeycomb. So this is die cut from gold foil. Okay, I like the gold with the warmer tones in this paper. So I'm just going to add a little strip of, woo, fast fuse right there. And we're just going to kind of plunk that down. Okay, it's going to get hidden with our honeycomb, or our beehive rather. Okay, so I'm going to put that on with a couple of dimensionals. Hey sister, how are you doing? What's going on down there today? I haven't heard from you in a couple days. Hope things are good. How's the deck? I'm dying to see it. All right, we're going to pop that on just like that. Make sure I'm not moving my ribbon around. Okay, quick and easy beehive there. And then I have a little label. Now I stamped this ahead of time because my stamp is actually mounted quite crooked and it is not easy to stamp on this little bitty label. So I kind of cheated and did it ahead of time. Normally I would stamp and then die cut, right? And so that's what I did ahead of time because, well, I didn't want to look incompetent on my video. Sorry. I stamped it just in black ink. I used Memento and then used the Sweetly Stitched So Sweetly dies. So these little flowers I actually fussy cut from the scrap little bit of DSP that I had left over from prepping the card front. And same thing with the leaves. So I just got my trusty paper snips going. I don't know if you saw, I posted earlier today. I was fussy cutting until the wee hours last night, prepping for a class where I severely underestimated the level of interest. I thought, oh, I can use some fussy cut flowers. There won't be that many people that want to do this class. And lo and behold, I ended up with way more than I expected. And each person needed 9 fussy cut flowers. So I was fussy cutting for about 3 hours last night. Okay, so all I have are some leaves and flowers that I fussy cut, okay? And I'm just sort of assembling them with glue dots here. And so I'm adding them to my little label, okay? Some I stuck behind, some I stuck on front, and I'm gonna hide that glue dot because it is showing right now. Don't like that. Let's get the scissors out of there. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna pop that up with a couple of dimensionals. So we'll go 1 and 2. Come here. And that one's gonna go. So when I put this on, I'm actually centering the points with my ribbon, okay? Just so that it looks kind of cohesive and like I planned it. Kinda, sorta, okay? And then I have another little honeybee, again, stamped and die cut. Where did I put my yellow marker? There it is. So we're gonna color his stripes again. Just this again is the dark Daffodil Delight. And we're going to pop him on. Now he's actually going to kind of creep on from the side. So I'm not going to pop him up entirely. I'm going to put a dimensional kind of down near his butt. So down here. Okay, so that the part, his head can kind of overlap the beehive that has already popped up. Okay, you see that? Now before I put him on, I want to fill in a few of the little honeycombs. I kind of like adding a little extra presence to it because the paper behind it is so busy. So to do that, these are just the negatives from when you die cut the beehive. So all I'm going to do is take a glue dot and just pop that in there. And that's going to just add a little bit more presence to the honeycomb so it doesn't get lost against that busy DSP. And I did have one more and I think I might have threw it out because I thought it was a dimensional backing because it looks exactly like a dimensional backing. Where did it go? Oh well, no biggie. We'll only have 2. That's all right. Okay, so we're gonna pop our little honeybee on there. The back side of those gold foil little honeycombs look exactly like the backings of dimensionals. There we go. Isn't that cute? And then the last touch is to add our cute little bow. This one I've already tied ahead of time. So we're going to just add a glue dot and pop that on right at the base of our little beehive there. And then again, we're going to glam this up a little bit with a little bit of wink on our flowers and a little bit on our wings of our bee. And then we're just going to add a couple of Peaceful Poppy sequins. So in this, I love these sequins. I'm so sad they're going away because I was really hoping these would carry over. So in this, we have little flower-shaped sequins, which I absolutely adore, except it's a trick to get the color you want. Your take your pick is your best friend when you're picking up sequins, let me tell you. I could have used this a couple of years ago, and I was doing an event and had to sort several hundred sequins out. Would have been much easier with this little tool. All right, one more gold. There we go. We'll add this one over here. Okay. And then to stick these guys down, oh, I found my other little honeycomb. I'm so easily distracted, I tell you. I'm just like, I feel like I have ADD. Okay, so we're gonna add just a little bit of Crystal Effects. This is the Shimmery Crystal Effects, and then stick our sequin down with that. I like using the Shimmery Crystal Effects because it's pretty, right? It's really strong adhesive, but it's also pretty. It's got sparkle. So if you kind of get more than you want and it oozes around your sequin, it kind of just blends in with the pretty. Yeah, we'll put this guy here. All right, let's grab our last little sequin here. Oopsie, I'm gonna pop him on just like that. Okay, so cute, so cute. All right, that is that. Done and done. Put the lid back on this bad boy, and we'll get that out of the way. Isn't that cute? Okay, on the inside, as I showed you earlier, all I did is that leftover little strip that I had is I just added it to a Whisper White panel for the inside of the card. Okay, so almost zero waste from a 6x6 sheet for this card. Okay, so that's a really great layout, and just something to think about when you are using 6x6 DSP. Okay, all right, so that's number 2, done and done. And then number 3 has just a little bit of stamping on it. Hopefully my dinner will be ready and I will be able to go finish this video up and go have dinner that someone else is cooking. Is anybody else really sick of cooking after being stuck at home for 2 months? I am. All right, so this one, I guess I should show you what it looks like. Here it is. I'm too busy talking about my dinner. Can you tell what my priorities are? Okay, so this one, I wanted something pretty and girly and fun and sparkly. So I decided to give my little queen bees their do right and add a little bit of bling. So I'm going to show you how to do this one again. Super quick and easy. Hi, Martine. How are you doing? I've got all these little fussy cut flowers that I want to make sure I don't lose. So I'm going to set them aside. So here I have some more of this awesome DSP. This is again a 4x5 1/4 inch sheet. It's got shoes on the back side. The shoes don't really do much for me, but oh, love that paper. And then some fun polka dots. Okay, again, same DSP pack. This one I love both sides. I like the flowers and I like the polka dots. So for this, we're gonna I want this to pop a little bit more against my background. So I have cut a couple of border pieces. So this is not the one from the Be Mine Stitched Framelits. This is my new fave from the Ornate Border Dies. And like I said, this is gonna be my new go-to. Just gonna get rid of all the bits in here because I forgot to do that ahead of time. Let's just poke them all out. Should have used my die brush. There we go. Okay, so we are going to just add a little bit of tape, if it decides to work, along the long edge on the back of my DSP, and then I'm gonna go ahead and line that up and stick it down. Okay, same thing on this side. I find this is the easiest way to get these straight and even. That has been my experience anyway. So it doesn't even matter if I don't necessarily cut it straight. If I glue it this way, I can get it glued down straight. So you don't know. See how crooked it is on the back? Doesn't matter. It's straight on the front. All right. These little bits keep coming back. I think I get rid of them and they're back. All right. So then we are going to pop this onto the front, centered. Okay. Did I mention the size of this? I don't think I did. This is 2x5 1/4. Okay, so 2 inches wide by 5 1/4 long. These little strips are 5 1/4 as well. They're cut from Highland Heather cardstock. I'm too busy talking today and I'm not giving very good instructions. I'm sorry, you guys. Did I mention I'm really distracted these days? So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down using my grid paper as a guide to get it straight. Okay, And then we're going to glue that onto the front of our card. So this card base is Highland Heather cardstock as well. It's 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. We'll fold in half along our score line and crisp that up. And then we're going to glue that down centered on the front of our card. And again, I'm going to remember to go slow so my fast fuse cooperates. There we go. All right, so we're going to pop that on with about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Okay, isn't that pretty? Just like that. So pretty. Okay, next I have some of these detailed bees, and I decided to go for an ombre look. So one is cut from Purple Posy, this one's cut from Highland Heather, and this one from Gorgeous Grape. Okay, and they're gonna get glued on like that. Now before I do that though, we're gonna bling them up with a little bit of wink. So all I'm gonna do is just really quickly brush, and it's gonna look like it gets darker on the camera. Don't worry, it'll dry. Okay, it doesn't actually change the color of the cardstock. It's just that it gets a little bit wet with the wink. So we're gonna just brush that on there. And then the last one. So we have sparkly, sparkly, shimmery, shimmery little queen bees here. Okay. So then we are gonna go ahead and glue these on. So what I like to do is lay them out exactly where I'm going to want them to go, because that helps me get my spacing right. Okay, keeping in mind that I'm going to have my sentiment coming in here. All right, so I'm going to start with my bottom one, and to glue these on you need almost no glue. Like, they are so light. I'm just going to take a little bit of Tombow, and I'm going to put just a little titch of Tombow right across the stripes of my bee. That's all I'm gluing. I want the wings actually to kind of pop up a little bit. We're going to curl them up in a minute. So I'm just going to hold down on the body to let that glue set, and that's it. Okay, and then these are going to curl up a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to do my top one. So again, just a little, whoop, that was a bit much. We might have a bit of ooze there. So we're going to center that one on there, and again, we're just going to hold it down. I love the colors too, Martine. I am loving, well, I love all of these purples. I'm generally not a purple person, but I love Stampin' Up's purples. I love Highland Heather, Purple Posy, and Gorgeous Grape. They're just beautiful, beautiful shades. All right, so we're going to just pop this guy on. Again, making sure it's centered underneath our Purple Posy one. Okay, and then we'll set that aside, and we're going to do a little bit of stamping. Now, the stamp actually says, "Thinking of you, sweet friend." But I wanted to just say thinking of you, because I'm actually going to send this to the mother of one of my friends who is very lonely these days, as many of us are. And so I only want to ink the thinking of you. Okay, so I'm going to use my basic gray Stampin' Right marker. I'm using the brush tip, and I am very, very carefully going to ink only the thinking of you. So the best way to do that is with the side of your brush tip, okay? And you'll get pretty good even coverage. And then we are going to stamp this centered. Now it's a little tricky to do from my vantage point, but we're going to just close our eyes and hope. Oh, that's not too bad. It's a little off center. You know what? I cut two just because I knew that this might happen. It is hard to do this when you are not looking straight on. Especially because I'm not using the whole stamp image. That's my excuse anyway, and I'm sticking to it. All right, let's try that again. Here we go. Let's see if we can get this centered a bit better. Yeah, it's better centered, but it's not a great image. We'll go back to the first one. Okay, so then before we put this on, I'm going to add some little fussy cut flowers and leaves. So these are fussy cuts. The flowers are fussy cut from this DSP. The leaves are from the last one that I used. Okay, and I'm going to just add a little glue dot to my leaf, and I'm going to add it to my flower like that, and then that is going to get glued onto my label. Just like that. Okay, and then same thing here. Glue dot and leaves, and then one more glue dot to stick it onto our label like that. There, and that kind of hides the fact that I'm not perfectly centered. Isn't it amazing what we can fix? All right, let's add a couple of dimensionals to the back of our label. And we're going to pop this off, get rid of our backings here. And then that is going to go on the front of our card, right in that little space that I left. Just like that. Okay, and then we're going to bling it up a little bit. Oh, I actually thought about cutting it, Debbie. I just didn't because this is very, very close. It was too hard to cut. I probably would have damaged the stamp. The G, the F, and the Y almost overlap the lettering below it. And if I had cut it apart, I would have probably wrecked the stamp. That's why. But good thought. But I did think of it. You got to know I thought of it, right? Okay, so my bling that I'm using here is actually from the former version of the basic rhinestones. We used to carry them and they used to come in these strips, and I almost never use the strips, but for this purpose they are kind of handy. Now you can't get them this way anymore. You'd have to stick them on individually to put them across your little queen bees here, so it's a little bit more work to do it that way. I'm being lazy and using the strips that I've had sitting around for probably 4 or 5 years now. Why not, right? So we'll pop that on there, and isn't that cute? Such a fun card. This would be an awesome Mother's Day card. You could put a Happy Mother's Day on there, and this would be a fantastic Mother's Day card. Speaking of Mother's Day, next week we are all about Mother's Day. Okay, I'm going to show you some cute Mother's Day card and gifty ideas. Okay, so let me bring back, I'll show you quick. I added another little strip of DSP in there, and then I stamped another sentiment on the inside. Okay, so let me bring back all of our projects today, including our cool fun fold. And thank you for watching. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed these projects. I will post all of the measurements in the description in very short order, unless my dinner's ready, in which case I'll do it after dinner. And that way, if you want to try creating one of these cards, all of the measurements will be there for you. Okay, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I will be back on Friday for some simple stamping. We'll see you then. Have a great week.